I'm a recovering lobbyist. I had no intention of getting into the ministry. I was sitting in a church meeting one night and saw that there were some red flags, that we weren't reaching new people. And we said we should get some outside help to see what we could do to turn that around. And somebody from the Reformed Church in America came in and talked about how church multiplication, planting new churches, tends to revitalize existing churches. And he started listing off the qualities of a planter, and with every one it was like he was throwing a brick right at my head. And every time I said, this isn't me, right? I'm not pious enough to go into ministry. But it was the start of a long journey where I heard a still small voice that got louder and louder. And I think Jesus put me in a headlock at that moment because he hasn't let go. And it led me down the path of looking at going into the ministry and what paths there were to do that in order to plant a church. The first thing you do is go to seminary, right? I looked at that, and actually I was enrolled, but really it just didn't feel right. And talking to a number of pastors and mentors, and said, this doesn't seem right. It's a 5-year program. I just want to plant churches because these folks are lost. This is an issue of life or death, and it needs to happen soon. What other paths to ministry are there? And that's when I was told about the Commissioned Pastor Program. I had a chance to meet with the folks who put that together, and it made perfect sense. It seemed like the trade school version of a graduate program that I wasn't interested in. I really wasn't interested in the pointy hat, with no disrespect to the seminaries. I appreciate what they're doing. But I was looking for that sort of trade school opportunity to get the tools that I needed to hit the ground running, knowing that there's a pretty strong emphasis to plant churches now, especially in my city. There's a large effort between 2 denominations to plant 8 churches in 2 years. That means we need to hit the ground running now, and the Commissioned Pastor Program is really designed just to do that. It's great. It's been hands-on. There's been a classroom element, some church history and some theology where I'm actually sitting down with somebody and hearing some teaching, but there's reading and writing papers. But there's also the chance to pair up with a mentor, which is terrific because I'm paired up with a pastor who planted a church, who then pastored it for years, and he has a wealth of knowledge I can draw from. I meet with him regularly. I've been able to follow him around as he does his thing. And so you're drawing from a pool of knowledge that's priceless. I don't think I get that from a classroom. Add to that the hands-on opportunity to be able to do ministry work and have people critique it and coach me along the way. That's been great. I also appreciate the chance that for some of the deeper, like theology, church history, those two in particular, they take conversation and being able to talk some deep things out. And so I've been able to have someone who's an instructor, again, who knows what they're talking about, to be able to bounce ideas off of. So to me, it's been a really good combination of hands-on learning, some classroom learning, and being able to draw from somebody who's been experienced in the field. And I've met a lot of planters, and I can see that there are certain qualities that are shared, and a lot of it is having the ability to start something from scratch, to say, here you go, there's nothing there. Do you have the vision and the ability to pull something together? And those are some of the qualities that pulled me into it, because I have a history of sort of an entrepreneurial ability to start something, to get people's attention, to draw an audience, to cast a vision. Those are things that I had, those are gifts that I had, and that's really what drove me into even considering planting. I'm really seeing that there are a lot of people who have a little bit of church in them. Just enough church to be inoculated against the gospel. So they may have fallen away from the church and they have misconceptions. Maybe they had some catechism rammed down their throat and they have a bad taste in their mouth. Whatever the case may be, there's a lot of people who they just don't want much to do with the church. And so when they drive past the traditional building with a traditional steeple, they have no intention of connecting with that. I'm still convinced that God's working on their hearts at this moment. Maybe they just need to speak their language. Maybe they haven't heard the gospel presented in a language that they're used to. And so that's really my mission. There's also a lot of folks who are totally disconnected from the church. They're 2 or 3 or 4 generations from anybody in their family ever setting foot in a church building. So you get a chance to really present the gospel for the first time, which is very exciting because they're coming to it asking questions, really big questions, and I don't have to have the answers because we have the Bible and I can present that to them. So we might not understand the language. It looks, okay, this is churchy. There's something going on here that's Christianish. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't understand the music. I don't understand the words. There's something happening here, but the bottom line is it's very different from our experience. It's no different from the single mom who lives next to that traditional congregation to step into that congregation. It's going to be like going into a different world. And so to me, that threshold's a little too high. I look at what missionaries do in Africa or in other parts of the world. The first thing they do is they go there and they learn the language, right? They learn the culture. They learn the cues of what's important to the people who are there. What do they value? I'd like to do the same thing and establish to them that the gospel is relevant. I don't have to make the gospel relevant. We just have to expose the relevance of the gospel to them in the language they speak, in the context of their culture. Commissioned pastor looks at somebody who's actually doing something and equipping them and saying, okay, specifically, what tools do you need? What knowledge do you need? What do you already have? We'll create a plan based around that versus saying, here's the program, and this class is offered every 2 years on the 3rd semester, and maybe in a number of years you'll be able to do this. It's the opposite of that. It's saying, what are you doing? What context are you ministering in now? Maybe you're a children and worship minister. Maybe you're ministering kids hope. Whatever the case may be, your program is developed around what it is you'd like to do in the field. And then somebody can come alongside you with whatever tools you need to help you learn what you need, to give you the tools and the experience you need. Well, there's always an opportunity for lay people just to learn more. Anybody can pick up a book or go to a seminar. I like this because it's systematic. If it's something that you're doing, if you're in one of those roles and you really are passionate about it, and this is something that you see as a calling, and I define a calling as something you can't not do, if that's the case, then this might be a really good opportunity for you. You know, as your local church comes alongside you and offers you the tools you need, it could be a really good opportunity for somebody who's looking to really do this and really impact lives in a formal way, because most of us come with certain skills and abilities, but I also know I lack a lot. There's a lot of things that I simply don't know or I haven't learned. So this gives you a chance to find out what those are and gain those tools or that experience that you don't have. If you look at the average member of a congregation and then the ordained clergy, if there's a gulf, if it keeps continuing to grow, I think that's going to be bad news for the church in North America, because the world's changed. If you look at schools right now, in my role at Habitat for Humanity, my day job, we do a lot of work with the community college, with the trade school, folks who are learning certification programs, whether it be automotive or nursing, whatever the case may be. They're short-term courses with a certificate at the end that gives you the ability to go out and hit the ground running. I really see a need for that in the church in North America right now, because not everybody's going to go to seminary. Not everybody's going to drive to Louisville or California to get a 2, 4, 5-year program. Most people aren't interested in that. So what is there between that and simply graduating from high school that can offer people what they need? This program seems to do that. You could come with a 4-year degree from a Bible college, maybe not. In my case, it was a state school and I got a degree in public administration. So I learned a lot of things. This offers you a chance to say, okay, what's missing? What do you need? And I don't see that in a seminary program. Maybe that's coming down the road, I don't know. And I don't see that available in most 4-year Bible colleges. So it really seems to fill a big hole right now in the church in North America. My goal is to try to get out of the way, because I think the Holy Spirit's pretty powerful. And I know He's been working in the city of Wyoming. It's a city of 72,000 people. There's a lot of people there who need to know Jesus. And I see right now that 2 denominations are working together to plant a whole bunch of churches. To me, that says there's something big at work. I'm just one little piece in that bigger story. So my goal would be to see Jesus made famous on the streets of Wyoming, that you'd see lives changed, because I'm confident that relationships can be restored. When folks find this new life, they're changed. So families can be restored, relationships can be restored, neighborhoods can be revitalized. It's all possible when we have that new life. And so it'd be my hope that I could have some part to play in that and maybe plant 2 or 3 other churches here down the road and see if we can create a movement.